Well, hello, Nats fans, and welcome to a West Coast edition of the DoDCast Postgame Show. I'm Drew Douglas, and I'll be your host for tonight. And it's about 1:20 in the morning here on the East Coast, and those of us that stayed up to watch the Nationals tonight were really treated to a great game as the Nationals won the first game of their West Coast trip, beating the San Diego Padres 2-1. And while it wasn't always pretty, the Nationals got the job done. Edwin Jackson, who has pitched pretty well for the Nationals overall since joining the team, he pitched a great game again tonight. He went 7 innings, allowing 8 hits with 1 run. It was earned on 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. So, while Edwin Jackson isn't the big sexy name and he's not always going to go out there and dominate, he only had 4 strikeouts tonight. He did throw 7 innings. He only threw 83 pitches. So he was very efficient, especially for his standards. Only walked one and kept the Nationals in the game. Ended up getting the win, his fourth of the year. He improved to 4-2, and he really had all four of his pitches working tonight: his four-seam fastball, two-seam fastball, curveball, and slider. And he looked pretty good for the most part. Kept the Padres off balance. His first 2 innings were outstanding. He only threw 17 pitches through the first 2 innings, which, as we've seen with Edwin Jackson in the past, sometimes he doesn't even get out of 1 inning with only 17 pitches. So that was great. He was very efficient. He gave up a couple doubles early, but worked around them and managed to really eventually pitch a great game overall. So getting into the Nats offense a little bit, Howie Kendrick, who's been an absolutely fantastic acquisition for the Nationals, he had another hit tonight. He went 1 for 3 with a run scored and a walk. So, he started the game in right field. It's only his second career game in right field, with his first game being yesterday. The Nationals just have so many injuries, with Brian Goodwin being the latest outfielder to hit the disabled list. Howie Kendrick has been needed to fill it in right, with Adam Lind in left and Michael Taylor in center. And Kendrick has really been able to just fill in wherever the Nats need him, playing a little bit of second base as well and filling in at third some. He's leading off now, which is something he hadn't done in a while before coming to the Nats. And he's just filling in everywhere, both offensively and defensively, and doing a great job, as he had another hit tonight and scored half the Nats' runs. Wilmer Difo came into the night with an 11-game hitting streak. Unfortunately, that hitting streak did end with an 0-for-2, but he walked and played good defense at shortstop. So while the hitting streak did end tonight, he had a good game, I thought. Daniel Murphy went 0-for-3 tonight with 2 strikeouts, and Murphy isn't a guy that strikes out a lot, and tonight he didn't really look like himself at the plate. He had a few nice plays defensively, but in his first at bat, Jhoulys Chacín, the Padres starting pitcher, he's on the ropes a little bit. Through his first 15 pitches, he only threw 5 strikes. He walked the first 2 batters, Howie Kendrick and Wilmer Difo. Then Murphy came up, and on a 2-1 count, when Chacín couldn't find the zone, Murphy swung at a changeup low and away out of the zone. So you never want to see Murphy swing at that, but especially on a 2-1 count. And as good of a hitter as he is, and as smart of a hitter as he is, usually don't see him swing at pitches like that. So that was a little confusing, especially from a guy like Murphy. He did swing at the pitch, ended up grinding into a double play. So the Nationals all of a sudden had, instead of first and second, no outs, had just a runner at third with 2 outs for Zimmerman. So it didn't cost them, but that is a big run-scoring situation you'd like to see the Nats score some runs in. And while it didn't cost them tonight, in the future it may. So you definitely like to see them convert those great run-scoring situations into actual runs in the future. Ryan Zimmerman, the cleanup spot, had the big hit tonight in the 8th inning. The Nationals didn't have a single hit from the 3rd to the 8th, and then Zimmerman came up with 2 outs and might be the clutchest hitter on the Nationals, especially with Bryce Harper being injured. He had an opposite field home run into the right field stands, and that was huge. Gave the Nationals a lead, allowed Kinsler to come in and pitch the 8th, and Doolittle in the 9th. We'll get into that a little later. Adam Lind at the 5-hole. He went 0-for-2, but he absolutely crushed a couple balls in his first 2 at-bats, both warning track shots to left field, and one of them actually getting an RBI. So he had half the Nationals' RBIs. He had a good night before getting removed for Andrew Stevenson, who came in late to play defense. Adam Lind is a great hitter, but not much defensively, especially in the outfield. So bringing in Stevenson for defense is always a good move if you have a late, or if it's a close game late in the lead or late in the game. Anthony Rendon went 1-for-2 with another hit. He's been on fire. He played great defense at third. He made one really nice catch on an Austin Hedges line drive. It was going down the left field line, especially with Adam Lind in left field. That's at least a double if it gets into the corner. So Anthony Rendon made a nice grab to rob Austin Hedges extra bases. That was fun to watch. Matt Wieters went 0-for-4. He stranded 6 guys on base, so he struggled at the plate. Another bad night offensively for him. Defensively, Cordoba stole a base for the Padres, and then Wieters threw the ball into center field, so not great defensively either. But in one of his swings late in the game, you clearly see him wince and grimace a little bit. So it appears something is going on with him. Hopefully, he doesn't need to go in the DL because, I mean, either Jose Lobaton or Pedro Severino is most likely starting every day. And although Wieters hasn't had a great season, you'd like for him to be healthy and not see yet another national go on the disabled list. So they're really walking wounded right now. Hopefully they can get some of these guys back for October in the playoffs. Michael Taylor, who recently came back from the disabled list, he went 1 for 4 with a couple strikeouts. It seems like his timing's still a little bit off. I don't know that he's ready. I think in a perfect world, he would still be on a rehab assignment, but with so many injuries, you can't really afford to have him on a rehab assignment, and he's really needed with the big league team right now. So he's played great defense, but it seems like his timing at the plate's a little bit off. So in the Nationals pitchers, after Edwin Jackson, as I said, Brandon Kinsler came in for the 8th. Recently or shortly after Ryan Zimmerman hit that go-ahead home run, although Kinsler was already up, so I think he may have been coming in regardless of if the Nationals took the lead or if the game was still tied. He came in through 1 inning. While he did hit Will Myers, that was the only base runner he allowed. He had a strikeout and didn't allow anything. And then Sean Doolittle came in and closed the door in the 9th, as he's done so well since being acquired by the Nationals. It's his 13th save of the year. He had a couple strikeouts. And I really liked maybe his pitch selection tonight. He gave up a loud foul ball to Austin Hedges. And then Austin Hedges, while he did hit it hard, it didn't have home run distance, but the San Diego crowd was excited by his little oohs and ahs. But it was foul. He was out in front of it. And after that, Doolittle started just pounding him with splitters and changeups and eventually got Hedges to strike out. So I like how while Doolittle usually almost solely relies on his fastball, and that will work, he saw Hedges made the adjustment to the fastball, and then Doolittle made the adjustment to Hedges, throwing him the off-speed, eventually getting to strike out. So Doolittle looked great again tonight, and Kinsler, Madsen, Doolittle have really been outstanding in the back end of the Nats bullpen. Mike Rizzo did a fantastic job of addressing the bullpen need because it was a glaring weakness there for most of the first half and up until the Nationals made these 2 trades to acquire some relievers. So yeah, the Nationals tonight, they won the game 2-1 on only 4 hits. The offense wasn't really there tonight, which is understandable. They just flew out to San Diego after playing yesterday, so they're still adjusting to the time difference, probably a little tired, and they've played a lot of games recently. They've had a few double headers. They got another one coming up with the Mets at the end of this month. They had all those double headers. They had the rain delay when they ended up starting the game at 10 o'clock and double header the next day. So this team is tired, which is understandable, and you'll see that the offense is struggling a little bit. But tonight, the 2 runs were enough to get it done. Going into the San Diego offense a little bit, Manuel Margot out of the leadoff spot, he had a good night. He went 2 for 4 with a run scored. Carlos Asuaje, he went 1 for 4. Let's see. Jose Perella in the 3-hole, he went 2 for 4. So they're top of the lineup. They're 1, 2, 3 hitters. They had a combined 5 hits in 12 at-bats. They had a good night altogether. And Yangervis Solarte, who's an all-star last year, he went 1 for 4. And Will Myers, who's really their big star, while he's not having a great year this year, he is the face of their franchise, you'd think. He went 2 for 3 tonight with a hit by pitch there in the 8th inning by Kinsler. So Myers had a good night. And that was really it from the Padres offense. Each of their 1 through 5 hitters all had at least 1 hit. And then after that, it was really not much. And Jhoulys Chacin, who came into tonight with the 2nd-best home ERA to only Gio Gonzalez of the Nationals, he ended up – his stat line looks pretty good, but he was really shaky. He struggled throwing strikes, especially in the 1st inning. But then after that, he settled in. And he went on to throw 5 innings, allowing 3 hits with 1 run. He walked 4, which you never like to see that from a starting pitcher. Unless obviously he's an opposing starting pitcher, so that was good for the Nationals tonight, although they couldn't make him pay for it, at least early on. And then he had 6 strikeouts. And former National, Craig Stammen, he's out in San Diego now. He's having a good year. He's got a 3.68 ERA this year. He threw 2 innings, 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts. So he always pitched well for the Nationals. He got hurt in that early on in that 2015 season, that disaster, which ended with Jonathan Papelbon choking Bryce Harper in the dugout, and that whole season together was a disaster. But Dusty Baker has really come in and turned things around. Yeah, that was the last year Stammen was here. Now he's out pitching well, so it's good to see him pitching well tonight. Kirby Yates came in after Stammen. He went 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, which was the Zimmerman homer, so he allowed 1 run, and he had 3 strikeouts. So he ended up being handed the loss. He falls to 2-4. And then Phil Maton came in for the 9th. He threw 1 inning with a walk and 2 strikeouts. So, altogether, the Padres pitchers had a good game. They only allowed 2 runs, but with their offense only scoring 1, that those 2 runs ended up to be costly. Get into what went on around the league a little bit, around the division. The Philadelphia Phillies, who are playing out in San Francisco, they just left San Diego. They lost tonight 5-4. Jeff Samardzija got the win. He improves to 8-12. And Aaron Nola, who's been outstanding since the All-Star break for the Phillies, he got the loss, fell to 9-8. And Sam Dyson got the save for San Francisco. We saw him get a save when the Giants were just in D.C. here recently. And then Cameron Rupp and Nick Williams homered for Philadelphia. Also in the division, the Atlanta Braves beat the Colorado Rockies tonight, 10-4. Sims got the win, and Hoffman got the loss for Colorado. Tyler Flowers homered, and then Ender Inciarte hit 2 homers for Atlanta. And Freddie Freeman homered his 22nd of the year, which is really outstanding considering he missed, I think, like 7 weeks with that fractured wrist, which an injury similar to the injury that Trey Turner suffered. So to see Freddie Freeman come back and be so productive, it kind of gives Nats fans a little bit of hope, considering Trey Turner had pretty much the exact same injury. He's been progressing, and hopefully we'll see Turner back in Nationals uniform shortly, and he can come back and kind of gear up for the playoffs and hopefully be all primed and ready for the postseason. The Mets, they went down 7-0 early to the Yankees, came back with a 4-run 9th inning and lost 7-5, but showed a little bit of fight at the end. Luis Severino got the win for the Yankees. He improves to 10-5. And Steven Matz got the loss for the Mets, falling to 2-7 with a 6.08 ERA. So Mets pitching staff, the guys have been banged up, like Matt Harvey, Noah Syndergaard. Just really the Mets have had a decent amount of injuries, but the guys that they have been running out there haven't been playing well, as we see with Steven Matz tonight. And Del Betances got the save for the Yankees, his 8th of the year with Aroldis Chapman hurt. We saw him go to cover the bag a few days ago. I believe it was Tuesday night, and it looked like he pulled something in his leg. So Del Betances is taking over closing duties for now. Gary Sanchez hit his 22nd homer of the year for the Yankees, and Curtis Granderson hit his 19th of the year for the Mets. Granderson's got cleared waivers. We saw him get connected to the Nats a little bit after the Bryce Harper injury. Maybe we see him traded before the August 31st deadline. You never know, but if he's homering tonight, he's definitely helping his stock some. That's it from around the division. We'll go through the Nationals minor leagues. The AAA Syracuse Chiefs lost 6-0 to the Durham Bulls. Esmail Rogers got the loss for the Chiefs. We saw him get signed a couple weeks ago. He's a starting pitcher, probably just for depth, you'd think, but too many more injuries. Maybe we see him up shortly, because really Eric Fetty and A.J. Cole are the only 2 starting options left in the minors, unless you consider Jacob Turner to be a serious option. The Double-A Harrisburg Senators beat the Richmond Braves 5-4 tonight. The Class A Advanced Potomac Nationals beat Salem 1-0. The Class A Hagerstown Suns lost to Hickory 3-0. Class A short season Auburn Double-A's. We see a lot of the Nats' recent draft picks there right now. They lost to Williamsport 9-8 tonight. And the Gulf Coast League Nationals lost to the Gulf Coast League Marlins 7-6. But a little bit of encouraging news tonight from AAA. We saw Andy Romero, who we've seen pitch pretty well for the Nationals this year, the flame-throwing left-handed reliever. He's currently on the disabled list, but tonight was his first time pitching on his rehab assignment, and he threw 1 perfect inning with a strikeout for Syracuse. So definitely good to see him begin his comeback to the team, and hopefully we'll see him back in the bullpen shortly. And then a little bit of injury news from the Nationals today. Ryan Madsen was placed on the disabled list with a finger sprain, which the Nationals originally said was just a blister, but I guess now it's progressed to a finger sprain. They said it's not really too big of an issue, and hopefully he'll be able to return on his first day eligible back from the disabled list. So it'd be great to see him come back. He's been pitching to 8th. since being acquired by the Nationals. He's really been one of the best relievers in baseball since the trade. So it's been a lot of fun to watch him pitch. He's got another year of team control next season, so he should be a key contributor in the back end of the Nationals bullpen. But while he's out right now, Brandon Kinsler has moved from the 7th to the 8th, and he's pitched phenomenally as well. So Nationals have a big division lead, and the bullpen is a little weaker without Madsen, but he will be back shortly. And as long as nothing else happens, barring anything unexpected, he'll be back in time for the playoffs, which is really what matters at this point. And to take Madsen's spot, Sean Kelly was activated. And last year, he was one of the best relievers in the league. He was a setup man for the Nationals, set up at the beginning of the year, set up for Jonathan Papelbon, eventually set up for Martin Melanson after the trade, a little bit of closing. And this year, he hasn't had it. He hasn't resembled the reliever that he was last year at all. And he's really struggled. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries in his career. I think they're starting to catch up to him a little bit. And he had a lengthy rehab assignment. He had 8 appearances. Usually you see if a reliever goes down for a rehab assignment, there's a couple games and come back, just a couple games, get back in the flow of things. They've already been throwing and getting their arm back in shape. So that's just to face some actual hitters. It's not just something simulated, and then get back into the swing of things, come back up. But Sean Kelly actually had 8 appearances, which was a lot. It shows that he wasn't pitching well, and the numbers would really go to show you that. He had an 8.1 ERA in 6.2 innings. So, yeah, he allowed 6 runs on 8 hits with 3 homers and 2 walks. So those numbers are really bad in the big leagues, but especially in AAA from a guy you would hope would be a late inning reliever for the team, for a World Series contending team, and a team I think is good enough to win the World Series. But in the playoffs, everything's a crapshoot. So hopefully some of these guys come back that are injured. But yeah, Sean Kelly, that obviously wasn't cutting it in AAA, which is why he was there for 8 games instead of just 2 or 3 tops. And I don't know how much longer the Nationals can stick with Kelly. He's under contract for next year, but maybe once Madsen comes back, you keep Kelly when rosters expand, but he doesn't make the playoff roster, and you say, we'll see you next year, and hopefully you'll be the pitcher you were last year, because, an 8 ERA in AAA is not going to cut it in the Major League playoffs. Some more injury news today in his pregame press conference. Dusty Baker said that Steven Strasburg should start on Saturday. He said lock can happen in 48 hours, so it's not official yet, but all things point to Steven Strasburg pitching on Saturday back in his hometown of San Diego, so that'll be cool for him. Bryce Harper, he suffered that gruesome knee injury but avoided a ligament damage, so he is traveling with the team and should begin rehabbing shortly. And Coda Glover, who he's a great reliever when healthy, which is it's proven to be a big if with him. He is progressing in West Palm Beach, where the Nationals have spring training. And yesterday he tweeted, great report from the doc, going to ramp up to get back soon. So that's great news. Dusty also said that Coda Glover is throwing up to 100 feet on flat ground, and he was feeling a lot better. And it's really fun to think about what this bullpen could be. At the beginning of the year, it was one of the worst bullpens in the league, if not the worst bullpen in the league. And now if you throw Coda Glover, who his stuff is just filthy with that hard slider of his and his fastball. He's got a few great pitches, and he was doing great in a closer's role before he got hurt. If you bring him in, he's pitching the 6th inning, and then Brandon Kinsler in the 7th, Ryan Madsen in the 8th, and Sean Doolittle in the 9th. You're really shortening games to 5 innings max. And with this starting rotation, you got Max Scherzer, Gio Gonzalez, Steven Strasburg, and even Tanner Roark have been pitching better recently. That's going to be really tough to beat with that starting rotation and those 4 great relievers in the back end of the bullpen. Not to mention guys like Enny Romero, who I said was rehabbing, Matt Albers, who has looked good this year. Oliver Perez is looking better. Matt Grace has pitched well. Even Sammy Solis, who's struggling lately, he's been pitching great. He had another great outing yesterday against the Angels. This bullpen is turning into a strength, which is incredible considering how bad they were earlier this year. And paired with that rotation, pitching and defense win games in October. And I'll take the Nationals starting rotation paired with that bullpen. If everyone's healthy, I'll take that over almost anyone in the league. So I think as long as guys come back from the disabled list and they play like they're capable of, which I think they will, especially considering they've had all this time off, they're going to be fresher come October. I think the Nationals are going to be a force to be reckoned with come October. And then some more injury news, although it wasn't with the on-field team. Owner Mark Lerner today, it was announced that he was battling cancer. He is now cancer-free, but he had to have his leg amputated in order to cut off the cancer. So that's definitely not good news. Mark Lerner is one of the most well-respected men in baseball, and obviously all the Nationals people love him. But he did appear to be in good spirits. He said he's hoping to soon get a prosthetic leg so he can go back and get back golfing. So that's good to hear that he is in good spirits. It's a bit of encouraging news, and hopefully he'll be back at the ballpark enjoying some Nationals postseason push and postseason run here in October. So take a look at what we had go up on the site today. Ron Juckett had 2 articles go up. He wrote about 5 storylines for the Nationals' trip to San Diego, and then he wrote about a Giancarlo Stanton trade possibly being a bit of wishful thinking. He went on that great run. He's got like 44, 45 home runs now. He leads the league. It's not even really close. And at one point, he even homered in 6 straight games. So he's been on an incredible push. People are saying maybe he'll get to 60 homers. And he recently cleared waivers, so he can be traded. While it's not likely, he can be traded at any time now through the end of August. But I think maybe if he is going to get traded, it'll come this offseason when there aren't so many, when it's not so complicated with the whole waiver deadline thing. But yeah, he has been linked to the Nats. There was a report that the Nationals are one of 3 teams that have checked in on him. But Ron said, and I agree, that a Giancarlo Stanton trade to the Nationals is probably a bit of wishful thinking. So we'd appreciate it if you would give this video a like and subscribe to us on YouTube, if you'd like us on Facebook, and if you'd follow us on Twitter at District on Deck, and you can follow me on Twitter at DrewRD98. So Ricky will be with you tomorrow. Max Scherzer is pitching for the Nationals, so Max Scherzer starts are always fun to watch. Hopefully he can go out there and dominate as he has, and hopefully his neck isn't an issue. He said that he still feels a little bit on his breaking pitches, but he has been pitching pretty well even with that. So, and what I always say is a bad day for Max Scherzer is most of the time still a great day for the Nationals. So anytime you have Max Scherzer on the mound, it should be a good game. It'll be a good one to watch. He has dominated the Padres in the past, so hopefully you continue that tomorrow and get the Nationals another win, and they can at least guarantee a series split in this 4-game series in San Diego. It was definitely nice to get the win in the first game tonight. So from everyone at District on Deck, I'm Drew Douglas, and thank you for watching, and have a good night, everybody.